Good morning, good morning, good morning. And for the 40th time, let's rise and shine. And here they are to kick off Women's History Month. Let's welcome Ed and Rex and Roni.
All right. Woo-hoo.
Wait, I think this is backwards. 40. That's a 5. I can't count, but I am happy. Hi, guys. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Welcome, welcome.
40 Are we 40?
We are old. We are in our 40s. We are middle-aged. Yes.
Like I said, time is but a flat circle sometimes. It just feels like one big party to me.
Yes. I mean, who would have known that we started this before during the pandemic, and who would have known it that this was supposed to be a music podcast, but then it ended up being this. I mean, 40 episodes in, I just can't believe it.
Can't believe it either. It's been good working with you guys. It's our last no, I'm just kidding.
Surprise, we're done. No.
And we're really excited that we're back from a week off. So thank you for watching our repeat last week. And thanks for watching from 2 weeks ago, our awesome interview with Steve and John. Please watch their documentary, A Peloton of One. We hope you can watch that online. You can learn more about that in episode 39. But thanks for being with us today. And like we said at the beginning, like our intro guy, whoever that is, said at the beginning, we're kicking off Women's History Month. So for those of you who are watching, and by the way, if you are watching, don't forget, FilAm Creative is the producer of this great show, Rise and Shine, that we've done for 40 episodes. If you love what we do, and if you don't, what's the matter with you? But if you do love what we do, please consider dropping a few bucks, some quid, to our Venmo at FilAm Creative. That's at FilAm Creative on our Venmo. Sorry, we don't have any spelling for you. We lost the spelling budget. But
no budget
if
for
you
spelling.
Exactly, inside joke. But if you like what we do, please consider doing it, and please go to our website, filamcreative.org. That's filamcreative.org to learn more about all the great things we do. So with that in mind, let's bring out our first set of guests. We're going to spotlight today Kwento Comics. Their mission is to create stories that introduce Filipino and Asian mythology through riveting contemporary fantasy comic series through this series. Their stories aim to inspire young women everywhere as they follow female heroines who learn to spark the warrior goddess within. And their hope is that their readers will be inspired to face the future with hope, compassion, and grace born from an understanding of the past and struggles of our ancestors. And we're going to flash it right now on the screen. Thank you, Jeremiah, the best editor ever. If you are interested in this, and of course you are, you can pre-order issue number 1, The Mask of Haliyya, which ships March 5th. So it's March 1st, so you've still got 4 days before they start shipping it. Right. So please go and pre-order it, and Cecilia or Caitlyn or Jenapher will tell you how you can pre-order it a little bit later in this episode, so stay tuned. So let's bring out our 3 guests for today. Our first guest is the creator of Kwento Comics. She's a first-generation Filipino-American. She's the CEO of Double Forest Entertainment, an active supporter and philanthropist, and she supports this organization called FilAm Creative. Who are those guys? And after working 2 decades in corporate America, she's now dedicated to working on projects that focus on women empowerment. Let's please welcome our first guest. She's going to be a future board director of FilAm Creative, and she doesn't even know it. Ladies and gentlemen, bring her out, Cecilia Lim. Cecilia.
Hi, guys. Thank you for having me.
Awesome.
I'm so excited to be 40.
Yes.
Congratulations on your 40th episode.
You don't look a day over 21, doll.
All right. This is guest number 1, but because it's our 40th, we have 3 guests today. So let's bring out guest number 2. Guest number 2 is the head writer for Kwento Comics. She's a writer, a filmmaker, an actor, musician, and a host. That's a lot to say because she does a lot of great stuff. Her projects include the indie film Undie Run, Madeira, and Fruit Fly, which won the Audience Choice Award at the 2021 San Diego Filipino Film Festival. Shout out to our good friend Benito and Emma for the great work that they did. She's written for publications like Character Media, Highbrow Magazine, and Cinematographo, which is a part of ABS-CBN. She's an educator at East West Players, and she's the lead vocalist and keyboardist for your favorite band, future guests of Rise and Shine, Rue. Let's bring out Miss Caitlyn Faye.
Hello. I'm so happy to be here. You guys can see me, right?
Yes.
We can,
Okay, I was
Yes, girl.
I was like, can they see me? Hi.
we can
Thanks
see,
for having
and
me.
spoiler alert, I guess it's not a spoiler alert. She just recently, a couple of weeks ago, celebrated a birthday. So happy belated birthday to our good
Yes. Happy belated. Yeah.
Thank you. I too am glad to be 21.
That's right.
Fun
21,
age.
baby. 21.
I can finally drink alcohol with you adults.
21-year-old and a 40-year-old all on the same
Yes.
show.
Wow.
All right. And
Living
as
it.
promised, we have a third guest. That's right. We have all good things come in three. So here's our third guest. Our third guest is the editor and writer for Kwento Comics. She's a Chinese American actor, writer, and multidisciplinary artist. She wrote Oblivious, a video game theater experience, and The Gray, which are both featured at the Hollywood Fringe Festival. You can catch her later this year as her work as a screenwriter in the indie drama Borrowed Light. And she's acted in everything from theater for East West Players to film showcase at South by Southwest to commercials for PlayStation. And her podcast work includes NPR's Tinkercast, Atypical Artists, and of course, Hey Rod, our friends at Pan Geekery. So we want to welcome our third guest. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Jenapher Zheng. How are you?
Thank you so much for having us on. This is exciting.
All right, we are delighted to have all three of you. I guess I'll start with the first question. I know this is like the toughest question ever, but we want to start with the tough questions. Just
Yes.
kidding. But Cecilia, since you are the creator, Cecilia, can you talk for a few minutes about what inspired the creation of Kwento Comics and recruiting great artists like Caitlyn and Jenapher? Tell us the background of this story.
All right. Well, I guess I'm going to have to start probably 40 years ago, right? Since I'm only 40.
You were
But
born
I'm
when?
all-
You were born when?
Yeah, well, let's leave that alone.
I was born in.
She's 40. She's 40.
Okay, yeah.
That's so funny. I've always loved the fantasy genre. I mean, I grew up reading a lot of mythology, Greek, Roman, Norse. And to be honest with you, it didn't really hit me until much later that I was starting to see the same stories being replayed over and over again. So how many times have we seen King Arthur? How many times have we seen Robin Hood?
Mhm.
We've seen all the Greek gods, the Roman gods. They've all had their stories recreated on screen and books so many times. But no one really has heard of the Filipino gods and goddesses, Bathala, Bakunawa, even Haliya, who is in our comic book. We've got all kinds of creatures of the night that no one's heard of. And those things are scary. The aswang, and my favorite are the little elves, the tamano. And
I heard about those. The first time I ever heard about this, I was like, it was book in the freezer moment. Like, this is scary.
Yeah.
Please tell us more.
Yeah. My aunt was telling me about, she was in the Philippines and saw little tiny footprints on the dining room table. And the maids told her that it was the tamawos, like going around in the middle of the night. And so, I mean, there's just like a lot of fun stories that has never been told. And Kwento Comics, the name Kwento means story. So that's how it started. We just wanted to tell the stories of the Philippines and all our folklore, all our traditions. I mean, there's so much to learn. And a few years ago, I met Caitlyn on set of, I believe it was Lagim. And, you know, I saw her short film, Madeira, and I just fell in love with her writing. And I had a couple of ideas of a comic book. And she took it, she ran with it. Her and Jen have done a fantastic job putting together a very, very just exciting and intricate and intriguing story that's going to last not just 1, issue, but probably about 15 or 20.
Hell
So we're
yeah.
very, very excited. And I'm going to let Caitlyn and Jen tell you a little bit more about the story, but that's kind of the background of how it all started.
Yeah, Caitlyn, how did you get involved? I mean, from that point when Cecilia approached you.
Initially there was supposed to be, I believe, a team of writers.
Mm-hmm.
So it was actually on our Slack channel for FilAm Creative, because we both used to be on the board.
Right.
Cecilia asked, she asked if I wanted to join, a team of writers. So I said, yeah, sure. And then it turned into, Caitlyn, do you want to be the sole writer? And I said, heck yeah. And from then on, it's just, been a journey. Jen's one of my best friends in the world. And I was at her house. She was helping me. Cecilia said, why don't you bring her on the team? I said, I'm fine with that. Writing this by myself is way harder than I imagined it would be.
Jen, I mean, it sounds like Caitlyn brought you in into the process as she was traversing through this story and everything. And so just talk about your contributions to this.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it all started actually in my old apartment.
Oh,
when
wow.
Caitlyn was like freaking out about where the story was going to go. She had a lot of really great ideas all compiled at once. But I think, she just came to me with a bit of a block, and I was just, open to hearing her out, because I think she has really wonderful ideas all the time. She's like one of the most creative people, if not the most creative person I know. And so after I heard her ideas, I just offered a few suggestions, and it like really unlocked something in her. She became really excited. And then, over time, she just asked like, hey, do you want to come on? I think like Cecilia's open for you to be a part of the team. And I was like, wow, okay. Like we've gotten to that level, not just like friend giving story advice, but like, as a co-creator. So she and I have made a lot of projects together leading up to that point, and even extending throughout. So I think we collaborate well. And my role is mostly to support her in her writing, to be a sounding board, to provide any like solutions for potential obstacles in the writing process. So, I help facilitate her thoughts. And that's mostly.
You're kind of like her brain. Just say that straight up. You're just like her brain.
I'm like the brain editor.
The brain editor. Yes. I like that, Ronnie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Manager for thoughts is good. No, that's more eloquent. I'm like, the brain slicer person.
Oh my God. Well, I don't want to slice her brain.
I'm in a weird realm thinking about comics now.
Wow.
So speaking of which, Jen, Caitlyn, I know you guys are many things, actors, filmmakers. That's one thing. How did you find working? Is this your first foray into comics, or did you have other projects that kind of lined up with that too? And if it was your first, like, what was that like, kind of switching over?
This is definitely my first official foray into comics. I'm not going to count those Lion King comics that I wrote in first grade, starring all my friends.
I love
I didn't get paid for those. But yeah, it was definitely a huge wake-up call in terms of recognizing the differences between writing for different mediums. Mm-hmm. It's really difficult to translate something that's playing out as a 5-season long TV show in your head to a graphic novel series. For one, each chapter, there's only so much information you can pack into each issue, right? It's not like you have a 1 hour long Netflix episode where you can put in and introduce 5, 6, 7 different plot points back to back to back and wrap it up all neatly at the end of the hour. With comics, you have to be aware of the limitations of how much story you can tell and end on a good note that's going to want to make the reader turn the page or buy the next issue, right? And not to mention, a lot of your ideas, they have to be translated by an artist who lives halfway across the world, who has a completely different sleeping schedule from you. And on top of that, there's no one who's going to take the ideas you've written down and translate it for you to the artist. You literally have to be the one holding the artist's hand step by step by step. I think in my naivete, I was like, oh yeah, they're just going to read the script and do it all by themselves. And that was so not the case. But it's been a really challenging and rewarding journey throughout these past 4 years. Definitely.
Cecilia, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say that we definitely wanted to have not only Asian and Filipino inspired stories, but we wanted the artists to come from the Philippines and Asia. So we went on a search, and this was probably a several month search for our artists in the Philippines. And we ended up finding Kaitlyn, who is our cover artist first, and then ultimately Ren or Renovia and Charlene Due joined as lead artist and colorist. And we're very, very excited. But yeah, Caitlyn mentioned some challenges. I mean, they're 13 hours ahead of me in Florida, and something like 16 hours for those in California. So, you know, they're in the middle of the morning, I'm in the middle of the day, and Caitlyn and Jen are in the early morning as well. So all our meetings are great. We do them on Discord. And that's been the biggest challenge, is just the time differences.
Can I ask another question, Cecilia? So you were, or I guess for all three of you, who came first, the illustrator or the writer? And how does that influence like the story, or that, because you just said, Caitlyn, like you're really holding someone's hand through this. Was there like how do you cast the drawers, the illustrators?
Definitely the writers came first. Writing comes first. And I just made a Facebook post on the Asian Creative Network, and we got a ton of submissions. And then somebody wrote, hey, my cousin has colored comics for Marvel and DC. I'll pass this to her. And then I found out this cousin was an artist in the Philippines named Catherine Leno, and I looked up her work and I was obsessed, and I said, we have to get her. And it took a while for her to respond to me. There was a lot of radio silence, but I just kept at it. I kept saying, hey, are you still interested? I was like that annoying girl. And we were like, let's just throw some money at her, you know, so she'll say yes. And it happened. And then when she had to take a break, she got this, you know, young, impressionable 20-something-year-old girl from her, I think, Taekwondo class to get on the team as well. And my God, she's really taken off.
Hey, did you know that you can make a tax-deductible donation to us? Check it out. Rise and Shine is produced by FilAm Creative, and we're an official registered nonprofit organization. So if you like programming like Rise and Shine, why don't you Venmo us a couple of bucks, some quid, and we'd really appreciate it. So you can Venmo us at FilAm Creative. That's at FilAm Creative. And hey, thanks for watching Rise and Shine.
Caitlyn and Jen, did you guys come up with the pitch for Mask of Haliyya, or was it like, Cecilia, you were like, I want to write this specific story? Which way did that go?
Oh, wow. Well, let me start. There was a couple of ideas that I had early on. When my mother-in-law passed away, this is kind of like the inspiration that kind of sparked it. But there was a basket full of jewelry at her wake, and all the grandkids got a piece of jewelry, like a ring or a brooch, a bracelet. And from there, and this actually, spoiler alert, this actual scene is in the comic book. But I was thinking, well, what if that piece of jewelry had powers? And that was kind of like the first thought. And at first it was a ring, I think, Caitlyn, that we were tossing about. And then Caitlyn came up with the mask. And then from there on, it kind of just snowballed. But it actually came from a real live incident of my mother-in-law passing, and the jewelry being given to all the kids at the wake.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. So
And Caitlyn, I don't know if you want to expound on that, but you took it from there and just went with it.
Well, the original pitch was Filipina superheroine teenager, right? And I was like, okay, yeah, sure, I can do that. I'd never thought of doing something like that before, not even remotely. But I like a good challenge. So like in my head, I was like, well, I can write about anything, it doesn't matter whether or not, I've thought about this kind of material before. I naively told myself. So, so I was like, okay, we'll see what I can do. And then I thought, well, it would be a little ridiculous to do this without mentioning, at least in part, Filipino mythology, because it's so, it's just very underrated in terms of how much people know about it and how intricate and complex it is. So I thought, okay, let's throw in a bunch of mythology in there. There's a ring. Okay, what does this ring do? Cecilia thought maybe the ring can, go back in time and show our heroine different important aspects of history that have been forgotten. I thought, okay, how can I incorporate this? Then I started doing research on different deities within different regions of the Philippines. There's a Bicolano entity named Haliyya, who is often attributed as being the seventh moon in the sky, or a moon goddess in the sky. And there's a whole story behind it. And in different websites, it says that she wears a golden mask. It's a mask made of pure gold that she wears to hide herself from her arch nemesis, the sea dragon, Bakunawa. That's also a whole story. Turns out that mask may or may not have been made up from different fan fiction websites, but I was like, you know what? It's too late now. It's in our story. It's literally called The Mask of Haliyya. And I talked to different Filipino mythology experts about this, and everyone's like, it's fine. Just go with it. So I got the go ahead. And I thought, what if this mask, the wearer who inherits the mask, can see what happened, what went through the eyes of the person last wearing the mask? And what does that mean? And what kind of commentary on human behavior and psychology can I create through this mask and what it means for the wearer? And from then on, it became a psychological investigation into multiple different characters and the symbolic masks they wear in everyday life. So
Nice.
Getting a little deep there, but I get it for sure.
We're gonna put a link to where to pre-order if that didn't get you. We'll
stop
keep
it
going.
right there.
Yes. So I'm like bombarding them with questions, Ed and Rex. Please feel free to stop me, but in a super respectful manner. Jen, without any spoilers, can you tell us a little bit about like, so you said that when you came in, you were receiving this, the concerns from head writer Caitlyn, and then you kind of like turned it around. Was it like the typical like writer's room moment when you're like pacing the room, or was it just a conversation with friends and then it just like, sparked the whole thing?
Every collaboration that I have with Caitlyn, it is a mixture of both, because we are just intensely, I don't know, like inspirationally, we're very in sync. So like when we start talking about ideas, it starts just riffing into things that like, what could be? Like we often joke that we're both like ENFPs that are just like creatively can't settle down on one thought. So then, one idea becomes many, and then it just goes from there. But essentially I like being able to solve puzzles. So like, during this entire writing process, if she comes across something like, well, I can't explain why, without giving spoilers, I can't explain why this happens. I can't, figure out if this is supposed to happen then why would this happen now? Or like, what is the meaning of this character showing up or whatever? And so, we think about it. And I think my job has been mostly to reassure us both that things will work out, that we will find the solution, even if it's not obvious right now. And we have. we have, you know, it's like strongly pieced together as something. I'm not going to say Game of Thrones, everything's comparing itself to Game of Thrones nowadays, but I think the whole point is that there's multiple characters and multiple perspectives and storylines, which is very difficult to weave together. So people might think that this is just a simple story about a girl and a heroine or whatever, but it's much more than that. You know, it involves Filipino society as a whole, what it means to be Filipino American, what it means to struggle with mental health, with family trauma, as well as a multitude of other characters that are found in the Philippines and their experiences there, vis-a-vis the socio-political landscape, you know? So
Ooh, I like that.
There's a lot.
Gotta preach there, Jen.
Story.
You gotta preach there, you know? You gotta preach.
Oh, hey, I know what you're doing. You're sitting there liking what we're doing over here. So do me a favor, hit that like button, add a comment. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Tell me what you feel. What are you waiting for? Do it now.
And it's so funny because all the stereotypes you have about a writer's room are totally
True
true.
for us.
You
Yeah.
know, there's
We jump
like
around.
blocks of text on the walls, whiteboards,
Post-its.
post-its, color-coded
Docs.
post-its. We have online apps. We have markers. We have erasers. We have meltdowns. 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, pacing the room. The aha moment. The no, we got to scrap that moment. You know, butcher paper. Cecilia, she hooked us up with a 2-day retreat in Hollywood.
Nice.
And I mean, she does stuff like that all the time. And and then I just realized none of this stuff is stereotypes. It really is like that. It's like being inside a madman's lair. And because all these thoughts, these thoughts have they copulate with other thoughts and then have other thought babies. And then they just keep growing. And then you realize, wait, this is not a TV show. This is a comic book series.
Yeah,
how are we gonna translate this all in a way that wraps up neatly at the end of a 30-page issue?
Right.
So it's been a journey.
I mean, quick question, then quick question, Caitlyn. So you're getting these ideas and thought babies together, right?
Yeah.
When you bring it to the illustrator and to the designers, were you hand holding her cell by cell or page by page?
Panel by panel.
Or panel by panel?
Oh, okay. So about that, what we've also learned is that different artists have different styles. Some of them, they want an extremely detailed panel script. And actually, initially, that was Jen's job. Jen, I would write the regular script, right, the working script. And then Jen would write a panel script in extreme detail. Imagine like a very detailed shot list for a film.
Got it.
That's basically what Jen was doing. But with different artists come different needs. And as the process morphed, as we went along, we started giving the artists more freedom to kind of do their own thing. But, you know, one artist was very laissez-faire. She would just do her own thing. Another artist had a million questions. She wanted to know exactly what is the expression, what's going through this character's mind, what's the background, where in Cebu is this scene set in?
Wow.
What is the socioeconomic status of these characters?
Whoa.
And I was like, yeah, I totally know the answers to all these questions.
And I was just like leave a note, like go wild, fam. I don't care.
I was like, let me get back to you. And I'd be like, Jen, I don't know the answers to these questions.
What's important
Just do
to
it.
know? Yeah, exactly. What's important to note too is that like not only are we writers, we're also like in some ways like directly involved with managing the artwork, you know, because the artists and the writers have like a very intricate back and forth where it's just like, was this what you meant? No, can you make it more this character is actually feeling that and she looks kind of this right now, you know, or like the box is supposed to be, you know, the something is going to be this, the something is going to be that, you know, like, or like you can't do this right now because later on there's going to be a thing, you know, because the series is so much bigger than
what is,
just the first issue. We have to be very careful about like what we establish. So like that's years in the making. You know?
Yeah, it's definitely been a few years in the making, but I believe we've taken the time to do it correctly. We've asked, lots of folks in the Philippines. Caitlyn's reached out to experts in Filipino mythology. We also reached out to somebody who knew the old Filipino writing, and the everything in the comic book. We try to make sure that we honored the authenticity of it, and so I think Caitlyn and Jen have done a really good job in doing the research, and our artists have done a great job in trying to take their vision and putting it into the comic book format.
Cecilia, you bring up a good question about authenticity. I wanted to direct this question to Caitlyn from a few minutes ago when she was talking about speaking with a lot of different experts. So much of Philippine stories, history, it's oral. There's not a lot of written. And so I had a question about, like, how involved, or how did it get with regard to, like, finding stories, talking with your artists? Did you ever get any differentiating difference of opinion, like, oh wait, it didn't really happen that way, it happened this way? Like, did you get a lot of differences in the interpretation of the story? Because I can imagine with so much Philippine history is oral. Did you come across a lot of that when people were giving the stories, or when you were working with the artists? Did they kind of question, like, did it really happen like this? Like, talk about that for a minute.
You just opened up Pandora's box, but I will try to be as concise as I could. Talk about this all day. Yes, to answer your question, there are over 7,000 islands in the Philippines, multiple different regions, many different tribes, and different renderings of how the world came to be, completely different pantheons of deities, completely different world myths and cosmologies. So suffice to say, there's quite a lot of, there's not one unified story out there. Just like in Greek mythology, you have many different iterations of different myths. By the way, I read somewhere, I don't know if we're allowed to call them myths now. They are pre-colonial folk religions. I know, right? I was like, whoa, okay.
Now we
Wow.
Yeah, because apparently there are some people who still, who still follow these practices. So there are many different flavors of pre-colonial folk religions in the Philippines. And what's equally maddening is that many different sources, they'll mix and match different characters from different cultural pantheons. And so everything's mixed together, and then people are creating fan fiction online. And so you really have to kind of take a deep dive. I had to get a bunch of books. I had to talk to different experts. One of them, the guy behind the Aswang project, he told me that you're going to have just as many inaccuracies and contradictions in basically oral storytelling as you will in published articles and books online. So don't go too hard on yourself. You can do a major disclaimer, just be like, hey, we're not trying to cherry pick which bits of Filipino pre-colonial folk religions we want to portray, but just know that we are trying as best as possible to kind of just give an kind of overview without getting our facts mixed up, because to a certain extent you really can't include all of it. It's just too much. I kind of make this joke that Philippine folklore is kind of like the fan fiction from 7 different shows all mashed together. It's just crazy. You could literally just keep going and going and going. And then Cecilia mentioned the writing systems. There's not just Babayin, there's a writing system for every different region. And our story takes place mostly in Cebu, so then we had to do Binasaya or Badlit as well. So we had to go through 2 translations. It's just been really, it's just been a wild ride trying to get everything straight. But at the end of the day, you kind of just have to do your best. At first, oh my gosh, I was extremely paranoid because I never grew up in the Philippines. And a lot of these people who read the story are going to be people who know Filipino culture intimately. And the last thing I want is for them to be like, what white girl wrote this, And sometimes I would give notes to the artists who are from the Philippines, and they say, I don't know if we do that in the Philippines. And then I'd have to make an Instagram post. Hey guys, anyone who's from the Philippines, can you give me notes on this? Or I'd go to Reddit, like Filipino threads on Reddit. I was just obsessive about making sure the story is told right. And I will be the first one to say, we're not going to get everything right, but you can know that we always tried our best. And I remember one of the artists telling me that she, you know, the show and the comic book series Trece.
Right. Yeah.
She was saying, it's funny, Trece is like a Filipino guy trying to write in an American noir style. And ours is like a Filipino girl trying to write, I don't know, an American girl. I don't know if I'm shooting myself in the foot saying this, but she's like, you're definitely an American who's trying to immerse themselves in the Filipino narrative style. And then I realized it's not about that. You know, two of the main characters in our series are American, and a very famous comic book artist, Wills Portacio. He's kind of like my mentor on this series. He told me, yeah, Wills, he said, you know, just cling to this idea that your main POV is somebody who is not from this world and you're seeing it through her eyes. And so I have beta readers who are from the Philippines. There's like a journalist. So I said, look through this entire script and tell me what is not Filipino enough or what needs to be tweaked. So like I said, I'm going through this thing with a fine tooth comb, and I'm even going on a research trip to the Philippines later this year to just immerse myself in the environment. So, you know, I'm trying my best. We're all trying our best here, you know.
But we even at the end of the
we translators, right? We even have translators who are trying to translate bits into Cebuano. And from there, we still have other people trying to translate it so that it's an everyday Cebuano, so that it seems natural. So we have a lot of eyes on the project.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Oh.
I can just imagine how challenging it would be, you know, which is why I asked the question. And then you brought up the point about, you know, now people in the Philippines are looking at it like an American, right? So like, there's just so many different layers of potential, which is why I can see like Pandora's box. Like, you know, it sounds like you guys are doing what you can to really hold to the integrity of the stories. And it sounds like Cecilia is giving you guys a great ecosystem to really put this all together in. So that's great.
And you were saying something, Cecilia, you're saying that overall.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we hope that the American audiences are going to get a slice of Filipino culture. And the readers in the Philippines are going to get a little slice of, you know, our American teen. Her name is Marisol. So it's a kind of a blending of the two. And we hope that we've done a good enough job that folks in the Philippines, folks in the US, folks all over the world will find something that they can relate to, and also something they can learn more about.
To kind of go back to the business side of it, Kwento Comics, it's all women, right? Like it's all.
Oh yes, we are all women. The core group is all women. Myself, the writers, the artists, our marketing team, all women, the core group. We have some guys that have helped us along the way, but they are not considered part of the core group. We're an all female, all Asian comic book company, probably the first. I think we're the first.
Ooh, let's check that. I'm going to call you guys the first.
Yes, I think we are the first.
Maybe like Asian American, right? Or international, right?
Yeah, either way, first we're all women, second we're all Asian. So we've got to be the first on one of those or both of them.
So like check enough boxes for you. Yeah,
yes, we would like to check all the boxes, but for celebrating, you know, Women's History Month, I think, you know, what better way than to celebrate our company, which is, you know, all female. You know, I worked in corporate America for 20 years, and and I worked for a great company, but there were times where voices weren't heard. And in this company at Kwento Comics, all voices are heard. Everybody's at the table. Nobody's left behind. And I've given my writers and my artists I think I just combined those two words. My writers and my artists, the ability to be open and communicate, and if there's anything that they want to add, we listen to it. And Jen and Caitlyn, correct me if I'm wrong, but we do try to listen to everybody's input, and that is something you don't find in a lot of big corporations.
Ooh, you heard it here. If you wondered it, you know it now. Thank you for saying that. I think a lot of women, especially a lot of Asian American women, we have if you're of a certain if you're of a certain personality, it's hard to find your footing in the room, and especially at the table. And to be able to hear from the headmaster herself that we're all gonna be heard here, your ideas are gonna be respected, that's huge.
So March 5th is when the comic starts to ship. Do you have any big events planned for this? I mean, I feel like with a film, they have a screening or things like that. Like, what are you guys going to do to really celebrate? Obviously, we're going to talk about how you can buy this comic, but
well, yes. So on March 5th, we are officially launching Kwento Comics and the Mask of Haliyya series. We will be having a launch party somewhere in a secret location in LA. So you guys look out for your email invitations. But yes, this is going to be a big launch party that we're going to have. We just want to celebrate the fact that we've got these great writers, great artists who've worked tremendously over the past couple of years to bring this to the public, bring this to the community. And so I think we're going to have a nice little party where we get to celebrate and congratulate ourselves, because I think this is something worth reading and worth supporting and worth getting behind.
Wow, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Cecilia. We'll look out in our email for our invitation there.
Nobody get jealous now.
No. So any one of you three, why don't you go ahead and let our audience know where we could find Kwento Comics, social media, even yourselves, where we could find yourselves individually as artists and writers and all the like.
Well, I'll go first. Our website is www.kwentocomics.com, and in our website you can pre-order up till March 5th, and then of course it'll just be a regular order after March 5th. You can also find Mask of Haliyya digitally on the Amazon Kindle store. And we are going to have the comic book at select bookstores. The first will be at the Filipino Expressions bookstore, and also in Manhattan Beach at the Comic Bug.
Yeah. Caitlyn, where can people find you?
People can find me on my Instagram, Kaitlyn.Fae. That's KAITLYN.FAE. And that's it. Because I don't use Twitter.
Don't be trying to look for her nowhere else.
Yeah, don't try to find me on Venmo.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I know someone who changed their Venmo name because I think people were stalking them on Venmo. I don't know. Anyway, it was hilarious.
It's a thing. You need to put those on private, people. Okay. I am judging when you are in my area. Oh, no, I'm always open to people sending me money. But
I was gonna say, send in the money.
You can just send the money, but don't be looking at who I'm hanging out with, when and where.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing.
How about you,
Jen?
Where can we find you online?
Yeah, you can find me everywhere at JenapherZheng. If you can spell it, you can find me. I'm on there, that's it. Just Jenapher Zheng everywhere. And you can also follow Kwento Comics on IG, Facebook, and Twitter. That's KWENTO Comics. And yeah, see you there.
Awesome. Well, we want to thank you three for coming out today. We also want to give a special shout out for those of you who don't know. It's kind of like the In-N-Out secret menu. We have a special live taping, and today we're so excited. We have 17 people in the audience today. So thank you to our 17 people from UCLA who are watching us. live on Zoom. Thank you so much. If you want to find out more about that, you can email us and we'll give you that special link. But anyway, we're going to come back in a quick second after we pay some bills with everybody's favorite segment, 13 Things.
Are you following us on socials? What? You're not? How dare you? I mean, you totally should. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We even have a mailing list. We're at Rise and Shine FAC. That's Rise and Shine FAC. Or click like here. It'll take you right there. You don't gotta do nothing else. So what are you waiting for? Like us, follow us, subscribe. See you there.
Okay, and we are back for your favorite segment, 13 Things. We're hanging out here with the wonderful folks behind Kwento Comics, which you can pre-order, and it starts to ship on March the 5th. So before we get started, let's go ahead and reintroduce ourselves. Ladies, could you reintroduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Cecilia Lim. I'm the creator of Kwento Comics.
And I'm Kaitlyn Fae. I am the head writer of Kwento Comics.
I am Jenapher Zheng. I am the editor and co-writer for Kwento Comics.
Okay, and we're going to have Rex start the rapid fire, and to keep the order, it'll be Kaitlyn, then Jen, then Cecilia for the answers. All right, I'm turning it over to you, Rex. Anytime you're ready, sir.
All right, ladies, Act 1, let's get to know you a little bit here. Okay, so each one of you, you're an artist in your certain entertainment genre or profession. Now, can you recommend us your 4 favorite, for you, Cecilia, your 4 favorite, I guess, comic books, I guess, or your, go ahead.
It's Kaitlyn, Jen, then me, right?
Yeah, Kaitlyn, sorry. Go ahead, Kaitlyn, your 4 favorite.
So for me, is that the same thing? My 4
yeah, your 4 favorite writers. Go with your 4 favorite writers.
Or, oh my gosh. Can I just say my 4 favorite books?
Sure.
Okay, sorry. Sorry, I'm so not prepared for this. Okay.
Okay.
I'm a writer, and my 4 favorite books are The Monk by Gregory Lewis, The Hunchback of Notre Dame by Victor Hugo, Ella Enchanted by Gail Carson Levine, and White as Snow by Tana Fleet.
All right, Jen, you want to go ahead and do that?
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna say video games that
Go ahead.
are my favorite. So my 4 favorite video games are BioShock, the first one, Witcher 3: The Wild Hunt, Dragon Age Inquisition, and Horizon Zero Dawn.
Wow, Cecilia.
Okay, so since I'm a creator of a comic book company, I'm going to go with my 4 favorite comic book series. First one is The Sandman. The next would be Wonder Woman, Venom, and X-Men.
Okay, so to you, Kaitlyn, now, if you weren't a writer, what would you be doing instead?
I would either be a psychologist, specifically a therapist, a life coach, or a motivational speaker.
Okay. All right, Jen. So if you weren't doing video games, what would you be doing instead?
I would probably be working in the nonprofit sector, maybe for something to do with arts education. Yeah.
Cecilia, if you weren't doing comic books, what would you be doing instead?
If I weren't doing comic books, I would be traveling the world and someone would be paying me for it.
Amen.
Amen. There are jobs for that, I think. Okay, so I think one of you already answered this question. Now, if you could run a nonprofit organization, what type of cause would it benefit? Kaitlyn?
It's funny because when I was in college, I said, one day I want to get involved with an organization that puts Asian Americans in front of the camera. It's so funny because when I joined FilAm Creative, I feel like that's what we were trying to do. And now, thank God, we've come to a point in society where that's really happening more and more. So I feel like my efforts would probably be directed in some sector where there's less attention right now. I don't have major specifics, but I would definitely want to go into some kind of mental health field, particularly with youth. and family dynamics.
Cool. Yeah, Jen, I think you already answered this question, which is great.
She can join FilAm Creative.
Cecilia, what would you be doing if you were running a nonprofit?
Okay, so if I could run a non-for-profit, it would probably have to be one related to Alzheimer's research. My mom suffered from Alzheimer's and died from it. It's very near and dear to my heart to try and help any of the research in that area.
Okay. To the three of you, what's something peculiar about you that not a lot of people know about? Caitlyn?
I have a very long tongue.
Okay. Okay. Jen?
I can wiggle my eyebrows interchangeably.
Ooh.
You sure you weren't on David Letterman before? And
I didn't even know that.
Cecilia?
Know if I could beat either of those two, but I'm not sure not too many people know I day trade for a living.
Oh, okay. Okay. To the three of you, what's the most beautiful place you've ever seen?
Dang it. This was one of those questions where I didn't have time. I do remember the first time I went to Chicago. My mouth was on the ground, not just from a sheer architectural standpoint, but how clean it was. And also just the vibe. I remember walking through the city in a daze saying, I have to live here someday. So yeah.
Jen?
For me, it would be the town of Wuzhen from China. It's like a water town that's built on canals, and architecturally, it's very traditional with like the sloping tiles. You actually ride gondolas in the water and stuff like that. It's really beautiful.
Wow, Cecilia.
Okay, well, I've been to a lot of places, and I do agree with Caitlyn that Chicago is a beautiful city. But I would have to say, in all my travels, Glacier Bay, Alaska is probably one of the top three for me, if not the top. It's just a beautiful area where you get to see the glaciers, and the water is just pristine.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. Now to the three of you, I'm going to give you some locations. You tell us what you'd like to do the most there, like your favorite thing to do there. So first one, outdoors. What's your favorite thing to do in the outdoors?
Attend an outdoor play.
She
Jen.
took mine.
Oh, really? I just made that up right now.
It's all good. I'm gonna.
Sorry.
No. I'll say attend an immersive theater play or
Okay.
site-specific play.
Okay.
We're such nerds.
Cecilia.
I was like mountain climbing.
Well, you know what? I'm a foodie. If I'm outdoors, I better be attending a barbecue.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Now in your living room, what's your favorite thing to do in the living room?
My favorite thing to do in the living room is talk to an amazing person or people until 4 a.m.
Nice.
Aww.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Jen.
I'll also say that plus playing video games.
Celia, in the living room?
In the living room, it's TV time. It's my only time I get to relax every once in a while.
Very cool. Okay. Favorite thing to do in the Philippines?
Oh, in the Philippines.
I know you're going there, but if you had you could start kind of like planning in your mind. What would be your favorite?
Yeah, no, I've been there. It's just been a while. You know those fancy like malls? Just gonna leave it at that.
Okay. Jen, maybe in China?
Conditioning.
I would like to go to Shanghai and do like an escape room there, because they have like really huge, and they go all out too. Like I've always wanted to check out Mr. X, which is like this 10-story building with escape room levels in each level. So yeah.
Wow. Okay. Cecilia, in the Philippines?
In the Philippines, you gotta go out and eat.
Of course.
Different restaurants.
Okay. To the three of you, what's your favorite thing to do on a vacation? On a vacation.
Probably engage in something that only the locals would know about. You know,
Yeah.
I've been on multiple bus tours,
Yeah.
and it's just not the
Mm.
same. You know, you gotta go and just go on your own and talk to the locals and go to the secret spots.
Amen.
Jen,
Sorry, sorry. Wait, what was the question?
on a vacation, your favorite thing to do on a vacation when you go on
Oh.
vacation.
Okay, got it. I like watching shows in different places or finding, you know, sources of historic or sites of historic importance, you know, museums
Mhm.
are always great.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Cool. Cecilia?
All right, when I go on vacation, I have to find out the food specialty of the region and go eat the local food. And then the next thing I do is I find the local casino because I have to do that on vacation. Eat and
Oh.
gamble.
Okay. Yeah, not in that order, right? Not in that particular
Yeah,
order.
it could be either way.
Okay, last two locations, ladies. What's your favorite thing to do online?
My
Online.
favorite thing to do online, watch YouTube videos.
There you
I'm
go.
a sucker for YouTube. Yeah.
Jen, I have a feeling what you're going to say. I just got a feeling, but
Really?
Video
well,
games?
I'm gonna be good and I'll just say Twitch streaming. I enjoy
Okay.
streaming on Twitch.
Cool. Cecilia?
Oh, my favorite thing to do online is watch Rise and Shine podcasts.
Oh,
wow.
I think she should be on the board of directors, Rex. What do you think? You're hired.
Yeah, we got 2 out of 3, right? You got 2 out of 3 votes here. So, you know, majority rules. All right, the last location, ladies. Keep it, this is a family show. Your favorite thing to do in the bedroom?
My favorite thing to do in the bedroom is read a great book until I fall asleep.
Yes.
Nice.
I was gonna say the same. It would be to read.
Are you sure you two aren't
Otherwise.
twins or anything like that? I don't know.
I actually am not
Other
really
writing
sure
partners.
sometimes.
This is a great collaboration.
Sometimes there's, yeah.
Cecilia?
Well, unfortunately, I don't get enough of it, but sleep.
Okay, cool. All right, we're gonna move on to Act 2, and Ed's gonna take over this round. I think, Cecilia, you're gonna kill this.
All right, ladies, let's get a little more serious. So, ladies, what are your 4 favorite foods or types of food that you got to have? Caitlin?
Okay, if I were on a deserted island, I would definitely, if I had to choose just one, it would be chicken empanadas. But I also love sushi. I love a Korean beef barbecue, bulgogi, and I love eggs. I love it when they're runny and the yolk is golden and dripping and pooling around my plate. And I like to lick the yolk.
Why does it sound so sexual?
Wow.
Oh my gosh. I like pad thai. I like hot and sour soup. I like oh my gosh. I like japchae, which is the Korean glass noodles. And I like dumplings a lot. So, or hash browns. I guess that's fun. Oh, okay, sorry.
Oh, is it me? Is it my turn? I get to talk about food now. So my favorite, I'll give you my 4 favorite types of food. So first of all, I'm a noodle girl. I have to have things with noodles. So ramen with pork belly, garlic lobster pasta, pad thai, linguine with clams, noodles all the way. So number 1 is noodles. Number 2, Chicago deep dish pizza. My favorite is Lou Malnati's butter crust. Italian beef from Chicago as well. My favorite is from Portillo's. And my new favorite category of food, birria tacos, the best.
I love it. Okay, I'm going to pause right here. I'm going to pause right here. Cecilia, since you said noodles, Rex and I have this question for you. 2 weeks ago in episode 39, Roni said that it's a tradition that you eat noodles for your birthday. That's some kind of tradition. So, Caitlin, did you eat noodles for your birthday? And Cecilia, did you know that's a tradition?
Did I eat noodles for my birthday? Yes, I did, but I didn't mean to.
Okay, well,
I
Ronnie, very
had-
happy for you.
Yeah, it was
Symbolize
like
long
a
life.
Jap-
Symbolize long life.
Yes.
yeah, I was in Little Tokyo and I had like a Japanese mentai cod roll shiitake flavored pasta, but it was like noodles. You know,
All
it's
right.
like almost like spaghetti.
Then you have.
It counts.
All right.
So
and
I'm gonna live a long life.
Did you know that's a tradition? We did not know that.
I
In
did not
China,
know.
there's
I
that
did.
Isn't that a
tradition,
Chinese
too.
thing? Yeah.
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 And
Well,
the,
it's
and the Lunar
Filipino.
New Year thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right. Well,
You always eat noodles on birthdays and New Year's.
Nice.
well, wherever Ronnie went, she's happy with all of you. All right. Well, I'm continuing the questions here. Sorry for that interruption there. Family recipes. What family recipes of yours are better than mine?
None of them.
Oh,
Yes, my mom would always say growing up, I don't cook. I don't like cooking. My parents were just never into cooking. Now they cooked and their food was decent, but I do find it amusing that literally everyone thinks that their mother's cooking is better than everyone else's cooking. And I'll be the first one to say that is not the case in my family. It's no shade on my parents. They would be the first ones to admit they're
all
just
right.
not cooks. They always had takeout.
You were the only person to ever answer that. I love it.
Yeah, they're not cooks.
All right, Jenapher, how about you?
Well, my mom does a few like signature Southeast Chinese dishes, including like stuffed fish balls and like this stewed chicken broth soup that I really like. But yeah, I've started cooking on my own now, so I'm trying to like defeat her, like dethrone her. We'll see.
Competition.
Did you say defeat
Uh-oh.
her?
Defeat her.
Yes, I heard defeat her.
Love it.
Yeah.
Need to
love
defeat
it.
her.
I want to
Getting
outcook
personal
her. Yes.
now.
All right, Cecilia, how about you?
All right. Well, my mom was actually a pretty darn good cook. But I would say family recipes that I think I've perfected is I make a pretty good Filipino pork sinigang.
All right, love it. All right,
Yep.
let's go rapid fire for these questions. You can only have one. Corned beef, Spam, Vienna sausage. What's it going to be?
I would have said corned beef growing up, but after college, Spam.
Go with spam as well.
I love Spam, but I'm going to go corned beef.
All right. Let's eat balut. Yes or no?
I've done it before, twice. No.
Never done it, and no.
I've done it before. No.
Okay. Favorite Filipino dessert? Jenapher, you can say favorite Chinese dessert. Caitlyn?
Does leche flan count?
Sure.
Okay, leche flan or ginatan.
I actually among Filipino desserts, I really like the sweet cornbread. And for Chinese desserts, I really like baobing, which is essentially shaved ice with condensed milk and a bunch of other stuff on it, like red bean and
Yeah.
Okay.
other
So it's like halo halo.
It's like halo halo.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
exactly,
like halo halo.
exactly.
Awesome.
For me, Filipino dessert, Sansraval cake.
Okay. Favorite non-Filipino dessert?
Ooh. Oh my God. A pumpkin pie with whipped cream.
Oh my gosh, there's so many. I'll say shaved snow that's honeydew flavored.
Ooh.
Like that.
For me, strawberry rhubarb pie.
Okay.
That too. Oh my god, it's my favorite pie.
Favorite boba?
Boba.
Favorite boba. Jen, what is the name of the boba you introduced me to? It was like
Onezo.
Yeah, it was like
boba.
Oh, what's that?
And half
like
and half.
Oreo flavored.
Oh yeah, creme.
Dude, oh creme brulee.
Creme
Creme
brulee.
brulee. Yes, creme brulee flavored Oreo boba.
Mm.
Okay, I'm going out with family tomorrow.
Wow.
Jenapher, where do I buy this?
Onezo. Onezo. Yeah.
I'm going to email you later. Okay.
Amazing.
Jenapher, how about you? What's your choice for, or is that the same one?
I have gotten that before. It's really good. I usually like to get iced milk with egg pudding and honey boba. I usually go with an alternate milk. I don't know. I'm such a weirdo. Okay. Yes. From Onezo or from Half and Half.
Nice.
Cecilia.
All right. So if I'm going to a boba place, it's typically taro milk with lychee jelly.
And is the boba game in Florida good?
It is not. We have very little boba here, and it's distressing to me.
All right.
Oh.
Moving on. Favorite chocolate?
Ferrero Rocher hazelnut.
Yeah.
That's also one of my favorites. I also like dark chocolate sea salt caramel.
Oh,
Ooh, that's good too.
nice.
For me, it's dark chocolate turtles.
Okay. Favorite fruit?
Favorite fruit used to be a nectarine. Now it's just a good old fashioned juicy orange.
I'm gonna go with pineapple with tahini on it.
Oh.
I'm gonna go with lychees, but there's an argument over whether it's lychees or lycheas. I don't know. Maybe that's a separate
Or
podcast.
lychee.
Or lychee.
Lychee. I've heard
Yeah.
lychee too.
I did lychee, yeah.
Goodness. Okay. Favorite alcoholic beverage?
Oh gosh. Something creamy like Kahlua. White Russian.
Nice.
Aliens.
I'll go with Japanese scotch.
Oh.
So technically Japanese whiskey, like Toki.
This should not be a surprise. A lychee martini.
All right.
Oh.
Okay. Let's get personal here. What Filipino or Asian American book, movie, TV show, or music are you currently into? Just one.
Well, to do research on the series, I watched this show on Netflix called Amo, which is basically, I think it's Briante. Yeah, it's like really famous avant-garde Filipino director, like about the drug wars. There's a lot of killing, blood, drugs, and prostitution, which means it was right up my alley. And I learned a lot.
Jenapher?
Yes.
Does it have to be Asian American or just Asian at large?
Either one.
Either one.
Okay. I recently saw this Japanese film called Drive My Car, which
Oh.
absolutely blew
yeah.
my mind. Yeah, it was really great. It's based on a Murakami novel, and it's about a multilingual production of a Chekhov play, Uncle Vanya.
Okay. Cecilia.
Oh, actually, last night I watched The Paper Tigers, which surprisingly enough, I forgot that one of our FilAm creatives, Josiah, was actually in the movie. So it was a cute film, The Paper Tigers.
Okay. Most memorable, good or bad, thing you ever did on a first date?
Oh, I really should have looked at these questions earlier. Most memorable thing, good or bad? Many moons ago. Okay. The very first date I went on when I was 17, 18, my friends, I don't know if this is legal, but they decided to stalk us and film the encounter. Like I said, I'm pretty sure this is not legal, but we were teenagers. They followed us around wherever we were. If we went to a bookshop or a restaurant, they were following us from a distance, and they put a camera inside a paper bag and cut a hole in the paper bag so that the camera was filming us. I don't know why they did this. I think they just wanted to document Caitlyn's first date because they couldn't believe Caitlyn was going on a date. And then I don't know what happened to the footage, but they laughed about it a lot later. So,
Wow. Whoa.
they're very weird friends.
Wow.
Wow.
Mine is not nearly as exciting, but I just I had a really bad date with somebody whose BO like put off my entire
Whoa.
night. And then at the end of it, like they were like, "Oh, I'm just gonna see you again." I was like, "Ah." I had to say something like, "Oh, you remind me of a platonic friend," and I just don't see, like in all honesty, I don't even remember their name because like the BO was just so bad that I
Wow.
It overpowered your
think.
memory.
Did
Yeah.
you? I'm sure you saw the clouds, right? Yeah, I'm sorry.
All right, Cecilia.
Okay, so one of my first dates, he took me to an ice cream bar and I drank 3 very large ice cream drinks. I'm just gonna leave it at
Wow.
that.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Redrink. Wow. That's
Right.
a lot
Okay.
of ice cream.
Let's play mahjong. How good are you?
I've never played mahjong in my life, and I feel like if I did, I would not be very good at it.
All right, Jen.
I'm a shark at it. I play a
Uh-oh.
lot of mahjong.
I'm
Uh-oh.
calling you. I'm calling you.
Uh-oh.
And
Uh-oh.
Cecilia.
I'm probably novice to intermediate.
All right. 2 more questions. Last two questions. First of all, look directly into the camera and say 1 sentence to your haters.
Are we allowed to curse?
Sure.
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Jen's like getting ready.
Look at me now, bitches. I'm just kidding.
Love it.
Are you though?
I know, right?
Jennifer.
Oh my gosh. Like my inclination is not to be mean, but I guess like at least I had the gauchos to pursue my passion and actually start succeeding at
Awesome.
Okay.
So much more eloquent.
it.
Cecilia.
To all my haters, I am down to earth, but above you all still.
Whoa.
Queen. A
She put them
queen.
below. They're
queen.
below the soil.
Wow.
I think Rex is going to agree with me that this might be the best set of answers that we have had. This Thank you.
There's a lot going on.
I love it. I love all 3. Okay, final question. You get to be the guest hosts for Rise and Shine with FilAm Creative. What Filipino or Asian guest would you want to interview, dead or alive, and why?
Oh, so the Philippine national hero, Jose Rizal.
Mhm.
I always thought he was so cool. He was like this Renaissance man. He was a total polyglot and a doctor. He was literally everything, every Asian parent's dream. And he died for his country. That's like the cherry on top. So I would be interested in talking to him, being like, what are you all about? But he's long dead. So
Jennifer.
I would love to talk to either Anna May Wong or Ted Chiang, who I really admire as a writer right now. He wrote the book, the short story that inspired Arrival.
Okay. And Cecilia.
Oh, those are 2 really, really good answers. Mine is not as deep, but I would want to interview Darren Criss.
ooh,
Because it's
Good.
Darren Criss. Who wouldn't want to interview him?
All right. Rex, take us out.
All right. Hey, thank you, Caitlyn, Jennifer, Cecilia, for participating in 13 Things. Ladies and gentlemen, you can catch this 13 Things segment on our YouTube page, Rise and Shine FAC. That's Rise and Shine FAC. Catch us there on our YouTube page. And again, thank you, ladies, for participating. We'll be right back.
Hey, don't forget that new episodes drop every Tuesday on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you download your favorite podcast. So don't forget to subscribe to us so you don't miss a single episode.
All right, we're back, and we have enjoyed this jumbo-length episode of Rise and Shine with our friends from Kwento Comics. Don't forget that you can pre-order Kwento Comics, the first issue. And actually, why should I say that? Cecilia, tell us where we can get the first issue of Kwento Comics.
You can get the first issue of Kwento Comics at www.kwentocomics.com. You could also get a digital version of Kwento Comics on Amazon Kindle store and also at select bookstores around the LA area, primarily Philippine Expressions Bookstore and also the Comic Bug in Manhattan Beach.
Fantastic. And Jenapher, what is the social media again for Kwento Comics?
It is just Kwento Comics, KWENTOCOMICS, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and our website as well.
All right, fantastic. I want to thank you for making our first of 5 episodes spotlighting Women's History Month this March a fabulous success. Thank you so much. We want to thank our friends today, Cecilia, Jenapher, and Caitlyn, for joining us today. This has been a great episode. Tune in next week when we have the next of 4 more episodes celebrating Women's History Month. On behalf of my good friend Rex, my good friend Roni, I'm going to put a bow on this episode. Thank you so much.
Oh my God. Look who's back from
We
vacation.
almost made it.
It's
Ed, we
Rise
almost-
and Shine. Congratulations,
Okay.
guys. You made another episode about something that's super easy to do. All right. It's really easy to write comics. All you need is a giant board with a bunch of stickers on it. And then you just sit in the room and figure it out. And then the next morning when you wake up, it's there. I mean,
We almost
not
made it,
super
Ed.
hard.
We almost made it to the
Since
end.
we
Ed.
have my new personal hero, Cecilia, here in the house, can I pitch you a comic? I just came up with this last night. Are you guys ready? Unappreciated artistic genius. Her name is Monica. Hosts a podcast with 2 other boring mortals until mystical vampire zombies turn the mortals into statues, and Monica has to save humanity. Boom, copy and print that. I mean,
Cecilia, just say
you
no.
know what? Maybe it's not easy. Maybe
no.
it's not easy. You need really
Say
great,
no.
artistic, beautiful, in their hearts, in their minds, in their souls, a team of women to make this stuff reality. Do you not
Okay.
agree? I don't want to ask the men. All right, on behalf of FilAm Creative, I'm gonna read some credits here because Mama needs to get paid. Alrighty.
Hey,
No check,
Rise
no
and
check,
Shine
Ed.
with FilAm Creative
No
was
check. No
created, casted, hosted, produced, birthed by in the metaphysical womb, which is the galaxy, by Ed and Rex and my sister Roni, who's sometimes cool, most of the times not. And follow us on FilAm Creative on YouTube, wherever you get your podcast, because your minds are gonna be blown until these guys turn into statues. Okay, good night.
Okay. No check.
Cecilia,
Ed.
I think you should hire her.
Yeah.
I
That
think
pitch
there's something
was-
we
that
can work
blew
with
my
there.
mind.
Idea.
No. This is the same person. This is the same person
Blew my
who made
mind.
This is the same person who made a short film that's 197 minutes long. Okay, this is the same person.
For your information, that was
Oh, no.
597 minutes long. Get your facts straight. I can't draw very well, but I can describe the hell out of a face.
Oh my
Good night, everybody.
we're out of here.
We're out. We're totally out.